YouTubers will take time out of their day to make a dedicated Q&A video, only to pick the most irrelevant questions ever. Like, bro, who cares if I'm 4'6" or 5'10"? Like, it really doesn't change anything. Doesn't change anything in your life or my life by telling you that. I've picked out a really clean list of college app related questions, as well as some like YouTube and community stuff that I want to go over with you guys. I think this will be both useful and worth your time to watch. Lock in, let's get into it. First question, how to get a spike on your resume. I wish that I could just sit here and give you a spike to do, something that's both good enough to get into Ivy League schools and something that you would be passionate about. But realistically, that's not possible. So I can give you the next best thing, which is just a workflow to figure out a good spike for your college app. You have to start with first exploring your interests. If you've not done that many clubs in high school, you're a freshman just now coming in and you're trying to brainstorm a spike, understand that the more experiences you have under your belt, the more career paths and different types of opportunities that you've tried, the easier it will be to figure out exactly what you do like and what you can turn into a spike. There are really only two main criteria to keep in mind when you're coming up with something for a spike. One, it should be connected to your career path in some way. Like, bro, come on now. If you're interested in the medical field, you cannot do a history project and expect it to be a spike. This is one of your most important activities. It's arguably going to be in your top 3, if not your #1 activity on your college application. It's your spike for a reason. Make it around the field that you're interested in. And 2, we're hoping that your spike is scalable. Maybe there's some kind of competition element, some way you can get awards out of it, some way that you can grow it to a point where it's very tangible and clear how far your spike has gone, what kind of impact it's had in some kind of community, or just something that you can show colleges to prove how much work you're putting into it. Now, this strategy, or whatever you want to call it, it does lend itself better to things that are competition based, or some kind of a initiative or nonprofit that you can go ahead and apply to business competitions with, because that's a very easy way to build this into something that has many different benefits to your college application. But that's not the only way that you can go about making a spike. Some people obviously have a sports side or artistic side that's very much a focus for their college application. I can talk more about that in a future video, but here is the bottom line. If you're trying to come up with a spike for your college application and you're struggling on what to do, you need to put the laptop, the phone away. Stop watching these YouTube videos and TikToks on this kind of content. It is not helping you. What you have to understand is the way that your brain works when you're watching my videos or someone else's, and you're looking at these TikToks, you're scrolling through them to try to get ideas. The dopamine in your mind is getting released every time you're learning something new because you feel like you're gaining something. But you're not. All of these creators out there on the internet, so many of the videos you see are telling you 3 different activities that are overused, that you shouldn't do, or that maybe it's 2 different activities that you could try to explore that are the most like generic things ever. What you're doing is you're drawing like boxes, like lines around your own creative space. You're limiting the direction that you could go for a spike. What I've told you so far is all you need to know. Put down the electronics and do some of your own work. No social media involved. Figure out what you actually like and what you would ideally have be your spike. Don't think about it from a college admissions perspective, what actually matters. No, think about what you genuinely like, and then we can take that idea and turn it into something valuable. It should not be the other way around. When I make these videos and upload them, I'm grateful for every single one of you guys that is like subscribed and following the channel, supporting me, but I really make these videos as a tool for you to be able to go on and do whatever you want to do in your life, live your own best life. If you feel like my videos are genuinely creating that box or limiting your own ability to think about this, take a break from my content. Like, it's not that deep. This is always going to be there. If you're looking for a spike, do your research and then come back to this as a second way to verify that you're going down the right path. Next question, we're switching it up a little bit. Do you really think that going to an Ivy League school is worth it? Why or why not? Honestly, kind of. It really depends on what you want to do. First, think about Ivy League schools as being an opportunity, right? What are you actually getting from going to the school? There's a couple main things, right? You're getting things like prestige, you're getting access to certain opportunities, you're getting connections with other students. How are those actually going to benefit you in the future? If you decide to go into a career path like CS or engineering, or a field that really does value that level of prestige, where those connections can truly secure you a better job, a better starting salary, then yeah, I think it's worth it. Personally, if I was not going into medicine, if I was only going into like CS or an engineering field like I just mentioned, I would have gone to a top tier Ivy League school just because it makes sense. A school like MIT is going to give you so many connections and opportunities. They're so ingrained into that field that there is that level of value in going there. Now, with that being said, a lot of you are interested in fields like medicine, for instance, where prestige doesn't really matter, or if it does, it's more beneficial to you to go to a prestigious medical school than a prestigious undergrad school. At the end of the day, the whole point of your pre-med 4 years experience is to prep yourself to get into a good quality med school, to set yourself up to grind during those couple years. Now that can happen at an Ivy League school, or maybe even a strong liberal arts school that doesn't have a really big name. It doesn't matter that much. I personally feel that where people get the most confused here is they think that because they're going to an Ivy League school, one, like the prestige is so blinding. Like you think that you're actually going to have crazy amount of clout. You'll be famous in your high school for about 3 days. And then when you go off to college, like I don't know if you've thought about this. Once you go to Harvard, there's nobody to flex on because all of those kids also go to Harvard. There is always going to be someone above you. When you go to Harvard, you'll realize that your roommate is going to Harvard on a full scholarship. The kid who lives across from you did science fairs just like you did in high school, but better. He won his entire country science fair, first place, got a full scholarship from Albania. Like, you're not cool there anymore just because you did this. On top of that, you're not getting this drastically better education. Tons of top schools will have people like TAs and stuff teach the class. Now, there is the benefit that if you go to a school like Harvard, classes tend to be a little bit easier. They inflate your grade a tiny bit, but that varies so much from school to school. That's not just like a general Ivy League prestige thing, and that's not something you know before going to college. We haven't even touched on things like cost and the fact that it's actually the students around you that make college so much more enjoyable and livable. When you go to Harvard, it's the fact that you're surrounded by a bunch of brilliant minds that is going to push you to do better in life, not the fact that you have some crazy professor or that your advisor is actually decent. You have to decide whether it makes sense to go to an Ivy League school or not, but I hope that these couple points really frame your mindset a little bit about what you're actually getting out of the school. How do I make up for 1 or 2 bad grades on my transcript when other than those I have all A's? I did a consulting call with a student like just a couple days ago when he asked me this exact same question. The first thing we need to define is how bad is bad. If you have all A's and you got 1, if not 2 B's on your transcript, I wouldn't even spend another brain cell thinking about it. At the end of the day, it's not going to destroy your college admissions chances, and it's not worth your time to try to go out of your way to fix. But there are a couple things that we can do if the grades become worse than that to try to mitigate the situation. Let's say you got a C or even a D. What do you want to do? The first step is ideally prevention. Before your grades even get to that level, by the middle of the semester, you should know where you're at. Literally go beg your teacher. All your self-respect thrown out the window. Ask them for help, ask them for questions, stay after class, show as much effort as you can in order to get your grade up. Ask them if they have any other opportunities, things for extra credit. Bro, you care about that grade more than anything else, and you want your teacher to know that because it will help you. Now, I'm guessing that this question is after the fact, so let's talk about some mitigation strategies. First thing you can do is go to your high school counselor and see what the threshold is for you to be able to potentially retake a class or get it taken off your transcript. If you get less than a C, some high schools will let you literally retake the class and replace it on your transcript. That old D that you got will not even impact your grade, but the only way that you can find out if that's a possibility is by talking to your counselor. Now, let's say you want to do this, but you don't want to even have to retake the class at your high school. Some schools even let you go to a local college, do it there, get the grade, get the credit, and then apply it to your high school transcript. If you got like a low B or a C, this is usually the most awkward grade to fix because it's somewhere in the middle where if you go to your counselor and you ask them for what you should do, they're just gonna kind of look at it and say, hey, things happen, buddy, I don't know what to tell you. But from a college admissions perspective, your admissions officer is looking at your C in Algebra 2 like, yo, this dumbass couldn't even pass math, what's he gonna do here at Harvard? What should you be doing? If you ended up getting the bad grade in an AP class, sometimes getting a 5 5 on the AP exam can actually help with the college admissions process and some of your grades. This is one of the only times when AP exams really do play a role, and it's in proving to colleges that, look, my high school just graded this class super hard, or my teacher just maybe didn't like me, and so I ended up getting a B or a C, but on the AP exam I got a 5. I clearly know the content, it's just something related to my school that was the issue. If you ended up having an entire semester that was just bad, and the rest of your high school transcript looks good, maybe you had some kind of a family issue or some kind of a personal issue that might be worth talking to your counselor about, because eventually when they write your recommendation letter, then they can talk a little bit deeper about what the situation there was and why you ended up having that one bad semester. That can look a lot better to colleges than you just not saying anything. Other than that, it's really not worth doing like a full-length essay description in your additional information section talking about that one B- that you got. You really don't need to be bringing more attention to it than is necessary. Your admissions officer might look at that B- and then just kind of shrug their shoulders and move on with their day, giving them this lengthy explanation about some fake family member, your grandmother who got diagnosed with, some disease. It's really just not going to help your case here. You got the C, it is what it is, just move on. I also had a bunch of you guys asking, yo, Pratik, like, when we get into Discord, bro? If you guys actually want a Discord, because I've been seeing this comment a lot, yo, like, hit me up, let me know, I am down to make this happen. I can pull up to the Discord for a little bit, join the call, talk to some of you guys. Like, it's just gonna be fun. Like, we can interact with the community. If you guys also want people to connect with, I think the Discord would be pretty good for that. If you're interested in like running and managing the Discord for me, because like I can't be doing this full time, right? I gotta go to college and make these videos and stuff. Yo, hit me up, like DM me, let me know. I can send you some more details and we can make this happen. And if you guys want it, then let me know in the comments. I can work my magic. Best believe that if I do make it happen, it's going to be fantastic. Will standardized testing be required for college in 2027? Look, College Board, that's running the SAT as well as AP exams, and then ACT Incorporated, which runs the ACT exam, these companies make hundreds of millions doing these exams. You think that they're just going to go belly up overnight because colleges decided that they want to be test optional? Absolutely no chance. These companies literally pay colleges money to do a bunch of different things for them. They sponsor universities. SAT is doing their best to get this massive international audience and reach. Look at the way that the colleges are adapting their tests as they keep moving. The SAT is making it a little bit easier, a little bit shorter. Notice how every single time the SAT has reworked their test, it's when the ACT starts to gain popularity amongst people. SAT and College Board are doing everything they can to compete. These tests are not going anywhere. A lot of you like youngins in high school think that by the time that you guys get to like senior year, these tests will be optional. I'm telling you right now, there is very likely going to be a place for these exams in the long term. You're going to need them, if not for college admissions, for some kind of scholarship opportunities, for some other competitions or niche applications. It's going to be valuable. It's worth your time. Take this exam. Do not get lazy and just not take it because you think that some schools are test optional. It is 100% going to be helping you. What is something you wish you did more of in high school? This is a really interesting question. I just posted a video on like the mistakes that I was making in high school, so I don't want to go down that path. But let's just talk about more on like a personal note. When I was in high school, like especially even as late as senior year, I cared a lot about my appearance. Like I would literally spend so much time coming up with like outfits to wear, I was literally doing the most. If my shoelace, like for my Converses, had one little knot in it, I would take the time to like undo it and loosen it out. We all have our vices, our insecurities. If there was one thing I could have changed in high school, I just wouldn't have cared as much. You have to understand that like high school is also a phase, like everything else in your life. Eventually you'll move on. 95% of people, you're never gonna see them again. It's just not worth spending that much time trying to impress random people. The only people that actually matter in your life are you, your family, and your closest friends. That's it. If there was one thing I could change in high school, that's what it would be. It's just focusing on me. What I want to wear is what I go out wearing, not what I think other people are going to get gassed up seeing me do. Also, don't ever buy trending clothes. I'm telling you, it's the dumbest mistake. I've literally spent way too much money buying clothes that were cool for like 6 months and then they died and then you don't know what to do with it because you spent too much money, you're too attached, but if you wear it, it's tacky. All I'm saying is, it is not the angle. We got another super common comment. A question I have is how competitive college apps are going to be for the class of 2024. Some people say that it's going to be like less competitive, other people are saying it's more competitive. preach, what do? I honestly don't think that there's much of an argument for how college apps could become less competitive in the near future. I think it's great what they're doing with getting rid of legacy admissions. That's literally a dub for like everyone watching this video. Like nobody really has that kind of money that I personally know of. And then what they're doing with affirmative action, which, you know, changes based on like your race or whatever. I'm not here to give my opinion. But outside of these things, there's really not much that's going on. The direction of college admissions is veering towards that more competitive side, right? GPAs are getting more competitive, test scores are getting more competitive, and they're also slightly limiting how well you can actually show like your performance on things like that. Back in the day, they used to have things like SAT subject tests. The SAT used to be way harder even 10 years ago as compared to what it is now. All of those things play a role in why college admissions is getting more competitive as time goes on. But putting aside the negativity here, whether it is or it isn't, why does that matter to you, bro? What does it change for the way that you're building the resume? Is it impacting the fact that you should be doing different extracurriculars than you should have been 2 years ago, or that you should be doing in 2 years? No, bro. This is the same principles that apply in the modern post-COVID college admissions era. Continue doing what you're doing. Whether or not it's competitive doesn't change the way that you should look at it. When you keep thinking about like your competition, all it's doing is making you more nervous. And even if that nervousness can channel you to do a little bit more productive work, it's not allowing you to do the creative work or to keep the good mental health that will truly get you into these schools. Take a chill pill, bro. It is what it is, bro. Life is gonna move on. Do what you can do, get into your dream school, and then move on. We got a personal question here. Why did you start a YouTube channel? To be honest, the reason that I did it back then and the reason that I do it now is the exact same reason. It's because I actually enjoy it. Before I started a YouTube channel, people still knew me at my high school as like the person who was giving out the advice. It might not have been college admissions related, but I did so much like self-improvement coaching with my homies. I do it with them, with my friends' friends. Especially when I first started YouTube, I was literally just getting on calls, talking to people, getting to know them better, giving them like life advice or giving them help when they needed it, especially for some of the younger people who really wanted those college admissions tips. When I would first post YouTube videos, it would just be the videos that people wanted me to make. Someone would ask, you know, hey Pratik, when should I start writing my college essays? Boom, college essay video coming right at you. Eventually more people started watching, more people started asking for different types of videos, and boom, here we are a little while later with about 16,000 subscribers, people watching this. Unreal, man. Honestly, unreal. I think this is a super valuable question. Someone asked, how do you manage burnout? This is one of the trickiest things in high school because you're doing so much work, such a grind that people really don't even do until they're in their 20s. And once they're done with it in their 20s, they just kick back and like chill for the rest of their life. These colleges are asking you to literally do that when you're in high school. Like at the age of 15, 16, burnout is a real thing. There's a couple strategies that we can do here to just kind of mitigate that. And it's genuinely worth knowing these things because once you do burn out and you're kind of done with everything in high school and you get into a little bit of a down, it gets really difficult to get out of those situations. So you're better off just learning how to proactively deal with some of these things going into it. The first thing I think it comes down to is just your outlook on life. For me, I've always been a more positive person. And in high school, I mean, I took that to the maximum, right? I would do literally everything I can to keep my mental health in shape, whether that means meditating, journaling, talking to friends who are very like-minded to you. All of these things really helped maintain my positive energy. Second thing is, on that note of friends, you really want to surround yourself with people who are equally as optimistic about the future. If you surround yourself with a bunch of people who are tired, or sometimes it can even be like your own parents who are being a little bit more negative, that truly can have an impact on the way that you view things. And once you start feeling like things are hopeless, like you don't have that kind of drive and optimism, then everything starts to fall apart. So the people that you surround yourself with are some of the most important people. If your friends are not like that, yo, I know it's hard, but find you some new friends, right? Find some other people that you can talk to who are genuinely happy for you when you get these awards and accomplishments and when you're making waves. And then also take breaks, but like I don't want to give you the default advice of like, oh, take an evening off here or there. When you have the ability to take breaks, sometimes when you feel like you're in the momentum, like things are going, you don't want to interrupt it by taking a break. I honestly stand by that. You're better off just working for a couple weeks on end, grinding, and then taking a couple days off once that competition or whatever event wraps up, than trying to intersperse it in the middle. I think the best way to try to deal with that relaxation and break is after something is done, you reward yourself for it. Once you have longer breaks, right? You finish the semester and you go into winter break or you go into your summer break. Those are the times where you can take a couple of days off before the next activity kicks up and just relax, do the things that you enjoy doing, spend some time with your friends, your family, get out into nature, do something different, like have a new experience. That's gonna kind of reignite your motivation to keep going. There's a difference in how you feel when you're demotivated and when you're actually just like burnt out and tired. If you feel that you're more on that burnt out side, then it is genuinely worth your time to like go take a break. Go spend it with some of your childhood friends. One time, like I spent like literally months working. I hadn't left the house and I was feeling a little bit more tired, but I was just trying to push myself through it. Eventually, I just decided to go spend a day like recording it was like a film project with one of my friends who's trying to record like a basketball video. So he wanted me to do some like hooping, some dribble moves, drop a couple threes. You know I'm like that, right? I'm cooking up the court. We made that little video. We had some fun like editing it, putting it all together. When I came back home after spending a day doing that, I felt so much more motivated. That's the way I want you guys to feel as well. I had a lot of fun recording this video. Love that you guys sent in some really, really great questions. Thank you all for watching. This has been Pratik. Peace.